Even as a kid, I used to just be obsessed with the idea of drawing things. They used to say, oh, he can draw. You know, oh yeah, Jim, yeah, he can draw. I think I used to do it to try to get approval from people at first. And then I realized that really what I'm doing is I'm trying to show that I can perceive what you perceive. And I can prove it. Here's what it looks like in my head. So I'll make it. This particular model banjo is made by William E. Boucher Jr. in Baltimore. He started making them in the 1840s when the banjo got real popular. And they were knocking these out in a factory. And they weren't that well made, but they looked beautiful and people were buying them. There was a big demand for banjos. You know, I'm trying to make the same Boucher banjos, but I'm probably making a lot sturdier than they made it because I don't want anybody coming back and saying that my banjo fell apart. Basically neoclassical. It comes with a little decoration on top. Craft is real important. When you can make an object come and occupy space in a nice way, there's a great sense of satisfaction that comes from that. Musical instruments even better because it occupies the sonic space. You know, you're occupying the physical space, now you're occupying the sound waves. You know, like you're pushing it even farther. And I like the idea of living with things that you actually produce, you know, that are like extensions of your own perception. Just common making things. I'm not talking about, you know, masterpiece stuff. I'm just talking about the idea of making things daily, you know, as a practice. I enjoy making things from scratch. There's something in the idea of like using, you know, your hands, your eyes, you know, working. I'll give you an example. I was working carving stone in India. I was able to go and study with a bunch of stone carvers. These are the people that cut all the stone by hand to make all these beautiful temples and sculptures all over India. Some guy comes into the stone yard with a big trailer with a compressor and all this pneumatic carving equipment. And he says to the guys in charge, he says, we want to sell this to you. You know, this is going to make your work a lot easier, all this pneumatic carving, stone carving thing. And these guys are all cutting great big stones with big sledgehammers and doing all this, and then very finely carving it into statues. So he set up his compressor and he gets this guy, he sits down, he says, I'm going to carve, you know, a relief lotus flower on this stone. And the guy who's my teacher, he says, I'll carve it over here by hand, and we'll have a race. So Parimal, who was the carver, who was the guy who was my teacher, he's sitting there. He's carving, he's watching this other guy going, you know, with the machine, knocking this thing out. And Parimal would just stop and watch him, and every once in a while he'd do it. And then he was done. This guy's still over there banging away at it, you know. And then I said to Parimal, well, he said, well, we don't want that because what we're doing, he says, you work with your hand, your heart, your eyes. You can't do that with a machine.